Let's do some basic strokes that you would use in some of my painting patterns, designs. These are your basic decorative painting strokes, and I am double loading my brush. I have two colors on here. I have a teal and a gray. I wanted, instead of white, I wanted the gray so it showed up on the white surface better for you. And you'll notice I'm loading up a dampened brush. You want your brush to be damp to begin with because that prevents the paint from getting too gloppy or drying in the bristles too soon and ruining brush. Now you don't want it to go up to the ferrule. You want it just part way because you don't want paint up there drying in that ferrule because it'll ruin. You won't be able to keep this sharp chisel edge if you get paint up dried in the ferrule. Okay, let's start. We're going to do a flat comma stroke. And I start with the brush on the chisel edge. I lean it down and I pull and I release the pressure as I let it spring back to the edge. I'm on paper, so it's drier than if I was on a painted surface or on a gessoed canvas. And you do the same to go the other direction, except you stand it this way, you lean, and you let it come up as you do the comma shape to the chisel edged. And then to do like a slider, what I call slider leaf or stroke for a petal, you just place it on the chisel edge, press down, give it some pressure, twist between your finger and thumb, and let it spring back to a tip. I'm doing it slower than I normally would, so it's not quite as short. You can make them as long or short as you want. I'm just trying to show you. My paint's getting a little dry, so I'm touching into a tiny, tiny bit of water onto my brush. So also, let's see, an S stroke. S strokes are a bit more challenging for me. Let's see, we'll start at a point. You kind of come down this way, and then you come back up. Let me see. I get that backwards. Go down. Yeah, see, I'll tell you, I'm terrible at S strokes. Let's see, I can go like, okay, let's go this way. Chisel edge, slide, go down, flatten as you go, and then come back up. There's the S stroke. I always try to make it a C with a little twist, and it's not the way you do it. So go down, flatten, and then you let it come back up on the chisel edge. And that's that direction. It's a little messy, but with practice it works for scrolling and whatever. And these are all done with a flat. This is a number 12 flat brush. So now we'll go on to a U stroke. And I'm reloading my brush. It's getting a little dry. If your paint starts to get gloppy in your brush and it's causing the chisel edge not to be sharp, go ahead and rinse it out and reload. And I'm just going to, you don't have to rinse it out completely, but just get that build up taken care of or out, and then reload your brush. So I'm doing here. So you start on the chisel edge, light or dark up depending on what you want your stroke to look like, and then you drag down, add pressure as you come across, and lift up. Drag down, pressure, lift up. So then you want to go for the upside down U stroke, and that is not too dissimilar, just the other direction. So you go up on the chisel edge, pressure on it, flatten, and then let it release back up to a chisel edge. Now let's see, maybe a half circle. I don't do a lot of these, but it can come in handy. So you just kind of, it's not really a half circle, it's almost kind of a bud, but try to keep it straighter rather than, and then if it wasn't two colors, it would look more of a circle, at least an oval. But that is actually how I do a rose bud, and sometimes. So let me see what's next. I have my notes here. So let's see, we can move to a round brush. Round brush, this one needs to be wetted. And there you go, you can see the round brush here. Let me see if you can see that. And I'll load it with some paint. And you do the same, like C strokes and whatever. It makes it look like a teardrop. So here is comma stroke, or just a teardrop stroke. You can press down and pull up to a point, and I'm not doing a very good point there. And then you can also do the other direction for a comma stroke. Press, lift, and let it come to a point. So let's see, press and then lift. There you go, that's a better one. And you can do the other direction. I think some people call that a Polliwog stroke, I'm not sure. So you can do lots of different things. You know, with a round brush also you can do some narrow squiggly lines if you just keep it on the tip. And let's see, let me go on to the Filbert. The Filbert brush, that is kind of like a flat brush, except it has a rounded top. You can see that. And to load the Filbert, you could do the side to side, kind of like I did with the flat, but also you can do this way and then this way. One side is the white loaded on there, and one side's the green. And let me get onto a clear spot here. Here's the Polliwog stroke, I guess, kind of like the other one, the round, and you press flat, give it pressure, twist between your thumb and forefinger, bring it to a point, and there you see how the difference between the flat brush, how it has a flat back end, and this one has the rounded. And you do the same, you can do the comma strokes. And I just, like for a flower, if you want to do, gives it just a different effect than the flat. There was one thing I didn't show you with the flat, which I do use in my slider leaves a lot. I'm going back to my flat brush here to show you. I'm double loading it, trying to get enough on there it doesn't drag. But instead of the flat back end for a slider leaf, I would start on the chisel edge, slide, and then come up, and then bring in. And that gives it, or even just kind of angled, not, just flat. That one came out flat. Let me do this again. And it takes practice. And that can give it more of a rounded edge, or back end. But you see the difference between the Filbert, or that's the round, the Filbert brush, the flat, and I think that was all round, Filbert, and flat brushes. Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention, get into some more paint. So there is the basic strokes that I do most of my decorative painting with. You can mix them, match them, do different designs. I guess I can show you a quick little rose just to show you how I mix the strokes. There's a U stroke, and then here's a comma stroke, and then I just layer them for the rose. Other upside down U, 2 more commas, and here's where I do kind of a scallop stroke. Now that's just basically a comma stroke with a wiggle. Put it down, wiggle your brush, and then let it come back up. And that gives you, you'll see the waves in the paint, as well as the edge should be a little bit scalloped. And then you just build with those to make your rose. I'm going off my surface here, but you're getting the idea. Sometimes I would have a third layer, and if you watch my rose tutorials so you can see that. And here I'm just going to do an upside down U. This is very messy because I'm not doing it perfectly. I'm just really quickly showing how those strokes. Now this one I'm not going to wiggle. I'm just going to do a scallop, not a scallop, but a comma stroke there. I'm going to paint on my palette. So that just shows you how the different strokes build your rows. I didn't do the bottom here. I'll do that. But there you have it. And you could build different flowers with those strokes. Even like a tulip, you would use like the S stroke in parts of the tulip, or just different slider strokes. So there is the basic strokes that I use for decorative painting. If I think of any others, I'll add them.